Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American supernatural horror film from 2019, titled The Wretched. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. 35 years ago, a girl named Megan arrives at the Gamble's house to babysit but finds it empty. She lets herself in and soon hears a strange noise coming from the basement. Curious and a little nervous, she goes downstairs to check it out, and in the basement, she discovers a family photo with the faces scratched out. To her horror, she sees a grotesque creature that looks like Mrs. Gamble devouring the little girl Megan was supposed to babysit. Terrified, Megan runs toward the stairs, but at the top, she finds Mr. Gamble, who shuts the door, trapping her, and as Megan is killed, a strange symbol is shown carved into the door. In the present day, 17-year-old Ben Shaw arrives to live with his father, Liam, as his parents are in the middle of divorce. Liam gives Ben a job at the marina, and despite having a plaster on his broken left arm, Ben works with his father. At the marina, Ben meets a fellow employee named Mallory, and they begin to grow closer. He also encounters a group of bullies led by a wealthy kid named Gage, who starts picking on him. During a phone call with his mom, Nora, Ben sees Liam kissing a coworker named Sarah, which makes him angry, but he chooses not to mention it to his mom. Meanwhile, Ben's neighbors, Abby and her son Dylan, got lost during hiking in the woods, and while Abby steps away, Dylan gets separated and starts exploring on his own. While taking pictures, Dylan comes across a tree marked with the same symbol seen at the Gamble's house. He hears what sounds like his mom's voice calling to him from a tree trunk, first gently before growing more aggressive, and Dylan witnessed a hand emerging from the trunk. The real Abby eventually finds Dylan, and the tree mysteriously disappears. Abby and Dylan return home, and later, Abby's husband Ty arrives with their infant son, Sam. He noticed the legs of a dead deer sticking out of Abby's pickup truck, with blood dripping from them. Inside the house, Abby explains that she hit the deer on her way back home and plans to use it for dinner. She then heads outside with Dylan, carrying a knife with plans to skin and gut the deer. However, she accidentally pierces the gut, causing diseased entrails to spill out unexpectedly, and feeling disgusted, they leave the mess there. That night, a witch-like creature known as the wretch emerges from the deer's carcass, and at the same time, Ben is awakened by strange noises coming from the roof. Curious, he goes outside to investigate and hears sounds coming from Abby's house. However, he only finds a raccoon and begins to relax, but then he catches a glimpse of the wretch on the porch. The creature disappears after Ty turns on the porch light, and Ben becomes unsure of what he saw. The next day, Ben sees Dylan playing near the porch and warns him to stay away from the area, and later at the marina, Ben becomes friends with Dylan and makes him promise to tell him if he notices anything strange happening around their house. At the office, Ben meets Mallory's younger sister Lily, and they have a brief chat before Mallory arrives and takes Lily home. Meanwhile, Abby, who is near the porch with her baby, notices something seems to have broken in, and as she leaves, the flowers around her mysteriously wither and decay. Later after work, Ben plans to meet Sarah, and Liam arranges for the three of them to have dinner at home. However, after a phone call with his mom who asks about her estranged husband, Ben decides to avoid the encounter with Sarah entirely. Instead, he accepts an invitation from Mallory to go to a party, and at the party, Ben and Mallory grow closer, and share personal stories. Ben confides in her that he broke his left arm after jumping from a neighbor's house when he was caught stealing, and as they bond, Ben leans in to kiss Mallory, but he suddenly vomits from drinking too much alcohol. When Ben wakes up, he realizes he has 10 missed calls from his dad, and soon after, an attractive girl named JJ tricks Ben into skinny dipping with her, but it turns out to be a cruel prank set up by JJ's bully boyfriend, Gage, and humiliated, Ben watches as the upset Mallory storms off alone. At home, Abby is awakened by the sound of her baby crying, but just before she enters the room, the crying suddenly stops. She returns to her bed and watches Sam through the baby monitor, but what Abby doesn't realize is that the wretch is silently watching the baby from within the room, hidden from her view. Minutes later, Dylan goes to his parents' room to sleep with them, and when Abby checks the baby monitor again, she realizes she can't see Sam. Panicked, she rushed to the nursery, and inside Sam's crib, instead of her baby, she finds a bundle of sticks. Then, she hears a horrifying crunching sound and sees blood coming from under the crib, and suddenly, something grabs her and pulls her underneath. Later that night, Ben returns home from the party and sees Abby walking into the forest with a child. Before he can process it, Ben is interrupted by an angry Liam, who has been searching for him after Ben fails to return his missed calls. An argument breaks out between them about Ben skipping dinner, and in his frustration, Ben insults Sarah, but she overhears this and leaves the house. The next morning, Ty wakes up alone in bed, realizing he's running late for work. Meanwhile, Dylan is watching TV while Abby, now back home but looking dirty and disheveled, is ominously staring at him. It becomes clear that this isn't the real Abby anymore, it's the wretch, now in control. At work, Mallory ignores Ben after the incident at the party, and in an attempt to make amends, Ben leaves her favorite Starburst flavors in her backpack as a peace offering. Ben then dumps trash into the boat belonging to Gage's father as revenge for the cruel prank at the party. After work, Liam is working late, so he can't take Ben home right away, but instead, Ben gets a ride from Sarah. Before leaving the marina, Ben notices a series of photos on a bulletin board and spots one showing Mallory, her mother, and her little sister. During the drive, Sarah tries to bond with Ben, revealing that she is lactose intolerant. Ben apologizes for the things he said about her during the argument with Liam, and she agrees to give him a second chance. When Ben arrives home, he finds Dylan hiding upstairs, looking terrified, and Dylan explains that he saw his mother contorting in a grotesque way and admits that he is afraid of her. Shortly after, Abby arrives at Ben's house, calling for Dylan, and when Ben denies that Dylan is here, Abby becomes aggressive, threatening Ben and trying to get into the house. Fortunately, Ty arrives and Dylan runs to him for safety, and as Ty tucks his son into bed, Dylan tries to warn him that Abby is acting strange, but Ty dismisses his concerns. Later, Ty checks on Sam's empty nursery but doesn't seem to react to the missing baby. Meanwhile, Ben grows increasingly worried that something is wrong with Abby, and he begins to spy on her but is interrupted by Liam's arrival. Later that night, while Abby is shown being intimate with Ty, it is revealed that her flesh has started decaying, further proving that she is not herself anymore. The next morning, Ben wakes up late at work and realizes he was supposed to give Dylan a sailing lesson, but Mallory informs him that Dylan never showed up. Concerned, Ben heads to Dylan's house to ask about him. Ty greets Ben but shockingly denies having a son or even remembering Dylan. Before Ben leaves, he notices the same witch's symbol carved into the porch floor. Ben begins researching the symbol and discovers information about an ancient forest witch known to wear the skins of her victims and feed on the forgotten, erasing people's memories of their missing loved ones. Later, Ben invites Mallory over and they spy on Abby as she retrieves something from the cellar and throws it into the garbage can. Ben tells Mallory about all the strange events happening, but Mallory mocks his concerns, even going so far as to slip a taunting note under Abby's door that reads, "We know what is in your cellar," unaware that Wretch is watching her. Meanwhile, Ben starts spreading salt around his house, believing it is capable of repelling witches. When Ty discovers the note left for Abby, he tries to investigate the cellar, but he is intercepted by Abby, who whispers something demonic in his ear, causing him to bleed from his ears. That night at the marina office, Mallory is oblivious to Abby, who is watching her from outside. As she locks up the office, it is revealed that one of her family photos has mysteriously vanished from the employee bulletin board. Later, Ben checks the garbage can and becomes more suspicious when he finds items from Sam's nursery inside the trash bag Abby was carrying. The next day, as the wretch steps out of the shower, it's revealed that her entire body has almost completely decayed, indicating she is in need of a new host. After seeing Abby emerging from the cellar again, Ben decides to break in to investigate. Inside, he finds a deer skull, a picture of the family with Ty's face scratched out, and the missing photo of Mallory's family, which also has her and her mother's faces scratched out. Realizing that Mallory's younger sister is the witch's next target, He calls Mallory to warn her, but she seems to have no memory of her sister. Ben rushes to the marina to save Lily but is intercepted by Gage, the local bully who confronts him about vandalizing his father's boat. Sarah intervenes to break up the fight, allowing Ben to escape. However, when he tries to catch up with Lily, he arrives just in time to see the witch pulling her into a tree. Ben tries to grab Lily to pull her back, but he loses his grip and is knocked out after hitting his head on a rock. After regaining consciousness, Ben returns home to find his father in a heated discussion with several police officers about Ben breaking into the neighbor's house. When Ben tries to explain that Abby is killing children, but due to his recent strange behavior, Liam dismisses him and accuses him of being on drugs. Shortly, Sarah arrives and while they are alone, Ben attempts to talk to her. He is horrified to see her pouring creamer into her coffee, and he notices that the flowers around her are decaying. Realizing that the witch is now inhabiting her body, Sarah lunges at him but Ben instinctively slashes her arm with a kitchen knife. Surprisingly, Sarah transforms back into her normal self, making it appear as though Ben attacked her for no reason, just as Liam walks into the kitchen. Liam allows the police to arrest Ben, and from the police car, Ben sees Sarah whispering something into one of the officer's ears. Ben tries to warn Liam that Sarah is the witch and plead with him to check the neighbor's cellar. On the way to the station, Ben noticed that the officer escorting him is bleeding from his ear, clearly under the witch's influence. Instead of taking him to the police station, the officer drives him to the beach and forces Ben out of the car. The officer tries to drown Ben, but an old fisherman's dog intervenes and bites him, but the officer shoots the dog. Realizing he was being possessed and is trying to kill Ben, the officer turns the gun on himself and takes his own life. Liam wants to go to the station but before leaving, he decides to check Abby's cellar, but he finds nothing there. As he is about to leave, he sees Ty entering a room from outside the house, so Liam follows him, and inside, he discovers the dead bodies of Ty and Abby hanging from a noose. He also finds a disturbing shrine containing family photos of the neighbors, along with a picture of his own family, where his face and those of his wife and Ben have been scratched out. Suddenly, the possessed Sarah, now wearing an animal skull as a mask, attacks and stabs Liam from behind. He drops his lamp which starts a fire, but manages to escape but due to his injury, Sarah catches up to him. After a brief struggle and just as the possessed Sarah is about to kill Liam, Ben arrives and shoots her with the police gun. Out of Sarah's corpse crawls the wretch, which goes after Ben. He quickly takes Liam to safety as the neighbor's house burns down, destroying all the pictures the witch had stolen. When the picture of Ben's family is destroyed, he suddenly remembers that he has a little brother named Nathan. All of Ben's true memories comes back, revealing that Nathan has been present throughout the events and has been taken by the witch. Ben tries to get Nathan inside the house, but he realized that the creature has already taken him into the woods, and at that moment, Mallory arrives looking for her sister Lily. Desperate to rescue their siblings, Ben takes Mallory to the tree where the wretch is lurking. He spreads gasoline around the tree and ties himself to it. He then tells Mallory that if he didn't return in 10 minutes, she must burn the tree as it is the only way to stop the wretch. While Mallory stays behind to spread salt around the tree for protection, Ben descends into the witch's lair. He crawls inside and begins searching for the witch, only to find her feeding on Dylan's corpse. In a surge of determination, Ben locates Nathan and manages to push him back outside. He then rushes back to find Lily. He managed to find Lily but just as Ben frees her, the wretch attacks him, but with Lily's help, Ben fights off the creature, and they both manage to escape from the lair. Once outside, the wretch emerges from the lair and grabs Ben by the ankles, pulling him back. Mallory throws salt into the creature's eyes, momentarily blinding it, and just then, Liam arrives in his car and slams into the wretch, smashing it against the tree. Several weeks later, Lily has started seeing a therapist to cope with the traumatic events they endured, and it is revealed that after escaping the wretch, Ben and Mallory burned the tree that housed the creature. In the present, Ben and Nathan are planning to move back to their mother's house, and they drop Liam off at his brother's place so he can heal. As a parting gesture, Mallory gives Ben a flower she took from a bouquet Lily sent to the marina office, and they share a goodbye kiss. While driving away, Ben smells the flower Mallory gave him and is shocked to realize it's fake, and this discovery implies that the wretch may have survived, as only real flowers decay in its presence. The final scene shows Mallory away from the marina in a boat with the kids. She stares blankly at the camera while the children talk among themselves, completely unaware of her behavior. Okay guys, that's all the recap about The Wretched from 2019. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.